The Rosie and Bill Show wish to thank our partners and Positivity primary sponsors.
The Roselli Agency, based in Kennett Square, Pennsylvania. Brian and his team of insurance professionals have been serving the needs of Chester County for more than 2 decades.
The Mallon Agency, located in Springfield, PA, where they take pride in tailoring the right insurance policy for the right client and exceeding expectations every time. Welcome, everyone, to the Rosie and Bill Show. Our guest this week turned a lot of heads and Kelly Clarkson's chair with her dynamic audition on The Voice. And since that time, she's been honing her craft and developing one of the most powerful voices in country music today. Please welcome to the Rosie and Bill Show, the pride of Horsetown, USA, Presley Tennant. Presley, welcome to the show.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for having me.
We're excited to have you here, Presley. We've watched you online, and wow, can you sing? I would have turned my chair just for the record. So that said, you were only 16 years old when you did the blind auditions on The Voice, and yet you had the poise of a seasoned veteran. Talk to us first about how did you prepare for that, not only vocally, but just, mentally? And secondly, what was that moment? How did that feel when Kelly Clarkson turned her chair?
Okay, so for me, The Voice was one of the most incredible experiences. I went into it, I was 16, I was very young at the time. And I just kind of was going into the whole process of it of like, I'm just going to learn as much as I can. I'm surrounded by all these professional musicians who play on literally everybody in the music industry's music that you hear on radio, on everything. And so I just was going into it with an open mind. I knew as long as I gave it my all, I'm going to be proud of the outcome. Because if I didn't try as hard as I could, then what was kind of the point? And so I went into it and I just was like, I'm going to learn so much. I'm going to try to be a sponge, take everything in as much as I can and give it my all. But it was like a lot of vocal training right before. I would take vocal lessons all the time just to like make sure I'm like, my technique is fine. I'm not going to hurt like my voice or anything. As well as just, I don't know, like getting myself ready to be in that atmosphere of like, this is showtime now. Like I mean business when I come here.
And you did.
Thank you. And then as well as it's just like when I remember the audition day, I think I was up around like 3:45 because I had like a 4:45 call time. And so I was like getting ready. I was like blow drying my hair, half asleep. I'm like, oh God, oh no, this is gonna be interesting. And so I run downstairs, I get shuttled over, and then I'm in hair and makeup, and then I sit and do like my schoolwork for a couple hours. And then so I finally got to like kind of relax. It took away some of like all the pressure because I was like, okay, I can focus my adrenaline somewhere else. Now instead of adrenaline while I'm singing, it's like adrenaline while I'm doing my math homework. Not a good mix. I was not concentrating. I don't know how I passed. I know how I passed, but that was an interesting day. And so I started just kind of going through the motions and like getting into my head. I do this thing like right before I go on, and I always go into like this little like meditative Zen thing where I'm like, I just want a couple like minutes to myself where I can really run through everything in my head and make sure I know exactly what I want to do. And I felt very prepared. I was so excited. And I'm standing outside the doors, and it's like 2 big double doors, and I'm feeling good still. Like I'm walking around a little bit, getting a little psyched out. Doors open, everything that I had just been preparing for, gone out the window. I was like, this is really cool. I was wearing heels and I had to walk up some steps, and I'm like, I'm going to fall. They're going to hear me fall. They aren't going to turn their chair. They're going to turn around and be like, what just happened? It didn't happen. Thank the heavens. I walk on stage and nerves are all-time high at this point. Like I don't get very nervous often. And then all of a sudden the music starts and I start singing and I like kind of zone in on that. And I'm just relaxed now at this point because I'm like, okay, I just got to do what I do best and just let all these like nerves and adrenaline go. And so I just kind of sat in the song, was just in that moment. And then all of a sudden Kelly turned her chair and it was the biggest relief I think I have ever had. It was just kind of like everything that I have worked towards this moment made it all worth it. Like Kelly Clarkson has been one of my idols since I first started singing. She was my first concert ever. I would always sing her song Because of You at like every little talent show near my hometown. And so all of a sudden, like my idol turned her chair for me. It was just the most liberating feeling. And I feel like I like wanted to do like a little dance or like a little jig on stage. I'm like, I can't do it. Keep cool, Presley. I was like, you could do this after. But all the stress was gone. I was like, I made it. I can relax, like just really take in this moment. And then after I finished the song, it was just like, oh, I can breathe. I can like actually like let down my shoulders and all the stress of everything. And I was like, this is worth it. It was the most incredible feeling.
Well, one of the things that I thought was really interesting too, Presley, is not only that initial audition, but just the incredible run that you had on The Voice. And one of the aspects of that I found really interesting was your sort of evolution, if you will, or transition, because I've heard you say in the past that when The Voice started, you kind of entered as a pop singer, and when all was said and done, you were a country singer.
Yes.
Can you talk to us about that sort of evolution as a performer?
So when The Voice was first starting, I think I was 16 and I was kind of going through like this inner fight of like, I feel like I'm singing music that I just don't relate to, or it's not who I am. And I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I knew I obviously still wanted to do music, but it's scary starting something fresh. It's because it's like all your hard work that you've put into this. It's like, how are you going to adapt to it? Or like you have to start over again. But in reality, as I went through the process of it, I learned so much, not only about myself as an artist on the show, but as myself, like aside from music, just as a person, my everyday life. And so I remember it was my top 24 performance, and I was in a coaching session with Kelly. And I remember she told me, basically, at the end of the day, you have to be the one that goes home, looks at yourself in the mirror and says, like, I'm proud of who you are and I am happy with what I'm doing. And that really stuck with me. She was like, if you're doing music, you need to be doing music with like all about who you are. Because when you try to be something that you're not, it can become tiring, trying to pretend to be something. And some people, that's for them, like having that alter ego, like it's still them, but it's just a little bit more. And so that really stuck with me. And I just felt like it wasn't me at that point. And so I did a lot of soul searching during that time. I started off singing like Demi Lovato, Stone Cold, and things like that. And I think my last one was Nothing Breaks Like a Heart by Miley Cyrus. And that's more of like a Dolly Parton, synthy kind of pop song, but we still changed it up where it was a little more of like the soaring notes so I could actually like sing. But as soon as the show ended, I just completely was like, I need a switch. I need to do something that makes me happy, and where I know I'm gonna feel comfortable and where I'm at home at. And so I looked into country music, and it just felt so right. It was like I found like my roots again.
Wow. Well, gosh, if you could only get one thing out of the show, clarity is a really good thing.
That is very true.
I mean, people search their whole lives for that.
Yeah.
Now, I have, before I get into my next question, I do have a follow-up question about The Voice, because like you said, it's a big adrenaline rush. It's a lot of hard work. Mm-hmm. And the fact that you went the distance basically is amazing. What was it like when that was over? Was there a big letdown, like, or did you hit the ground running, or did you know what I mean? Was there a decompression stage? And And how do you feel it helps you, having been on that show, to further your career now?
I mean, The Voice opened up so many opportunities for me. Even as simple as just like having like the getting to say that like I was on The Voice. It almost had like people take me a little bit more seriously, not just as like oh, this is Presley, she sings, this is like a hobby of hers. It's like, no, this isn't a hobby. This is what I do. This is my career. This is my job. But though it doesn't feel like it, because I'm enjoying every little bit of it. I mean, what is the saying? It's like, if you do what you love, it's not considered work or something.
Right.
That type of feeling. And so I've gotten to open up for so many incredible artists because of that. And like Shelton, Tim McGraw, Dustin Lynch, Curly Pierce, so many incredible names and people that I've looked up to for so long. But it did take a little bit to get there. I would say it was more of because I was going through the process of starting fresh in a way. It was really eye-opening to see everything. I thought it was going to be a lot more work in the sense of I thought I was going to have to like relearn everything, but I didn't have to relearn everything. I just applied it differently. But it almost was easier because it was like I just feel more at home and at peace with everything. So it was it would go up and down too. It's like some days I'd be super busy after The Voice, and then it's like I'd have nothing for like a couple weeks, and I'm like, man, when is it gonna get consistent out here? But now it is, and I'm very thankful for that.
That's great. And you, in the intro, Bill said you were from Horsetown, USA, which is also Norco, California. Yeah. How do you think being from there shaped you as a singer, songwriter, and lover of fringe?
I do love my fringe. Everyone I love my fringe, I will say that. Growing up in Norco, I love it out here. I feel like because in California, a lot of people don't necessarily think that there's much of like a horse town, especially in Southern California. You get it more towards like central. And everyone is like, oh, like there's a town out there like that. I'm like, we're here, we exist. But I feel like because everyone around me had always played country music and I've always been surrounded by it, and the people out here are just absolutely amazing. Some of the best people I think I've ever met. Everyone is so caring and is always looking out for each other. And I think that's really important. And so I've always kind of had those things like instilled in me, and it's a one big community, which I love. Everyone has each other's backs. And so it's just like those little things, whether I realize it or not, at that time, I feel like I've really shaped out to who I am today. It's always been a part of me. And so it's like I've applied those in my life aside from music and with music.
Would you say that you're more inspired when you're writing there at your home or in Nashville?
I would say it's a little bit of both. I feel like when I'm at home, I have this comfortability. Well, I just said that really wrong, comfortability. And I have this feeling, and it's just like, I don't know, it's just home to me. It's so easy and effortless where I can just write freely, and it doesn't matter what I think about it. It's just I'm writing. That's all that matters. But then when I'm out in Nashville, it's like there are so many things out there that spark something so fast, because it's like even a lot of people out there in the music industry, I mean, half the time, like when you go out to dinner and like your waitress is someone in the industry or something like that, it's like everyone is connected, which I think is so cool. And that's also really inspiring because you're around people who are like-minded at all times. And so it kind of helps you put your best foot forward going out there. And so whenever I go out there, I'm like taking my best ideas that I have and we're running with it. Come on, guys. But then out here, it's just like in my hometown, everything is just there's a lot of inspiration because of it being home. And there's so many memories.
Presley, one thing I wanted to ask you about, and this is kind of piggybacking off from the writer standpoint, but getting specific to your latest single, because Break My Heart. First time I heard it and I really paid attention to the lyrics, I was like, wow, this is pretty powerful stuff. This has got to be a pretty special relationship. And as a writer, I just think that was really very compelling. lyrically. So where did the inspiration for that song come from?
So I was out in Nashville and I was writing with Nick Autry and Bobby McLam, and two incredible writers. And we had this idea. It was just the lyric that we really liked, and it was "I want you to break my heart." Though it's shortened for it just to be "break my heart," but I think it's kind of interesting to know, because it's like when you hear the words like "break my heart," it's like, oh, you're gonna break my heart, don't do that type of thing. And it's like, nope, this is saying, if anyone's gonna do it, I want you to break my heart, and that's it. Final product, we're good. You can do it over and over again, that type of thing. Though that's not really healthy. No one should live by that. But everyone knows the feeling of wanting to be with somebody just so bad that you're okay with all the ups and downs and like the heartaches and going through all of that, as long as it's with that one special person. And so I think that was kind of like the main idea of the song and how it all turned out.
Well, it definitely turned out well. And like I said, one of the things I love about country music and the lyrics is that, a good story or a lot of songs, they can make you think. And that one really made me think. And it's just really, like I said, very powerful stuff. So it was, great to see it, great to hear it. And, like I said, for anybody out there, all of our viewers, if you haven't had a chance to hear it yet, check it out, because it's really a great song.
Presley, I want to ask you about an organization that you're involved with called Riffs and Rescues. We understand that you do virtual concerts. Can you talk to us about that?
I'm a very passionate lover of animals. Animals are our best friends, and they do so much for us by being there just all the time, even if it's like for emotional support and things like that. But they're always there. I don't know, they're our furry friends, and so they don't have the voice that like we can to speak up for them and advocate for them. And so I think it's really important to do just that, to help find these animals that are in shelters or rescues or humane societies, that we can find them a forever home and find them the home that they deserve. And so I worked with so many incredible different shelters and rescues and humane societies, raising money on, we do Facebook Lives right now. I wish it was in person, but it's just a little difficult with everything, and trying to go somewhere and it's hours away, because most times it's usually on the West Coast, but it could still be 6 hours away. But through virtual, people are able to donate right where they're watching from. They just click the donate link and all the proceeds go directly to the organization. And I think that's just really cool. Everything helps find these animals a home, and as well as a lot of these shelters and rescues also help with like veterinary needs. And so if an animal is sick and someone can't afford to pay for it, they can take it there, and they'll help them out wherever they can.
That's huge, because that can be the difference between an animal living or dying if someone doesn't have the funds to take them to get the care they need. That's wonderful work that you're doing, Presley.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Now, Presley, I wanted to just switch gears a little bit and talk about something that, as the father of a daughter, your video for Half as Strong really resonated with me. And again, just like I said, folks, with Break My Heart, you want to check out this video, Half as Strong. And I'm curious, how did the video come together, and how proud was your dad when it was done?
So I originally wrote Half That Strong just for his birthday. I am not very good with communicating my feelings, at least like speaking them. That's like a I don't do that type of thing, but I'm a songwriter, and so I can write my feelings. And so I wanted to write this song for his birthday, just as a way to say how much I love and appreciate everything that he does for my family. And I, if I could just be even half the person that he is, I know that I would be unstoppable, because I know his work ethic and how much he loves and cares for everyone in his life is something that I really admire from him. And I just wanted a way to put this into something where he can actually like realize like, oh, like she does love me. Like, I'm like, I do, Dad. I just don't, I can't, feelings are uncomfortable. Let's just say that, but I'm getting past it. We're getting past it. So I wrote it for him, and I remember we were out in the desert and it was his birthday, and it's like maybe midnight. We're all out in the desert. We have the motor homes. We're camping. and people are getting stuck in the sand. There's having to get tow trucks. There's a lot going on. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to play it for him. So I played him the song, and he was like just thinking it's like some random song that I was playing. And he was like, oh, that's cool. Like, who is it? I'm like, really? And I was like, Dad, like, I wrote it for you. He was like, oh my God, hold on, let me listen to it again. He was just having a little moment. And so he listened to it again, and there was actually tears. And I was like, I made Dad cry. I was like, my brother sent me $20. No, it was such a cool feeling. And then I told him, and then Father's Day was coming around the next year. And so I was like, hey, I think I want to release this. I was like, and I also want to do a video for it. And he was like, okay, cool. Like, are you going to have somebody else, like a father and daughter, do it? And I'm like, no, you're doing it, Dad. And he was like, I gotta be in the music video too. I'm like, Dad, you're literally the whole point of the song. You can be in a video for it. No, it was a little awkward in the beginning because he was like, doesn't know how to like be on camera. And then all of a sudden I'm like, Dad, just like your normal life, like everything that you do normally, just do that. Pretend there's no camera there. And then the video just came out perfect. And then when we watched it back for the first time completely, it was just like I don't know, it was a very, very special moment between my dad and I.
That is special, and you'll always have it.
Yes.
So, Presley, what do you have coming up for fans in 2023?
In 2023, you can expect a lot of new music, as well as touring and things like that. A lot of shows that are going to be planned very, very soon, or that I can release. And just a lot happening that I can't say right now. I can say early next year. But as soon as it's all out there, it'll all be on my social media.
That's awesome. We are so happy to have you on the show. You are incredibly talented, and it's been such a pleasure getting to know you a little bit, and we'd love to have you come back when you release all that new music next year.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's our pleasure. Folks, thank you for tuning in. We're going to end the show with a song from Presley. We'll see you next week.
You broke the mold, you broke the pattern, and then you picked those pieces up and made a home. Protector and provider, superhero, sacrificer, took the wrong and made it right, took the dark and made it brighter. Wish I could be half that strong, I wish I could be half that brave. I wish that I could thank you, but I just can't find the words to say. I know there's nothing I can do, and I owe it all to you. You're the solid ground I built my whole world on. Wish I could be half that strong. You're the footsteps that I walk in, so I know I'll get to where I wanna be. You're the shoulder that I cry on, and the ones that lift me up so I can see that there's no dream I can't believe in, there's no battle that I can't win, and no limit to the sky when I got you to keep me flying. I wish I could be half that strong, I wish I could be half that brave. I wish that I could thank you, but I just can't find the words to say. I know there's nothing I can't do, and I owe it all to you. You're the solid ground I built my whole world on. I wish I could be half that strong. Turn the ashes into fire, keep the flame burning higher, keep finding all the love to give, because all that I want is to be half that strong, to be half that brave. I wanna thank you, but I just can't find the words to say. I know there's nothing I can't do, and I owe it all to you. You're the solid ground I built my whole world on. I wish I could be half that strong.
Hi, Presley. No, don't say hi, Presley. Say hi, Dad.